What's up guys, Zackatar back with another How to Drums. Finally, we are going through Bluecoats drum break of 2014. It's been so long since doing this intro that I forgot what I'm doing, so you're gonna have to bear with it. If you're new to the series, I'm here to teach you tips and tricks on how to play this and avoid the stuff that I did wrong. First, of course, we're gonna go over the overall tips, and then we'll go into the specifics. And with this one being a really short piece, it's gonna be quick. My first overall tip is everything in here is pretty difficult, but the quad break isn't as bad as the rest of it. I can't tell you how many times this chunk reset my reps. And to add to it, there's an accelerando at the end. You need to practice this at a specific tempo so that you can fully transition into it. The quad break is difficult, but you need to make sure that you focus on everything and not just the cool part. My second and last overall tip, since this is so short, is you need to bring your heights down. Practice it slow to fast. A lot of the difficulty comes from the hand pressure and hand changes. There's going to be openness when you're doing the floppy flams. You're going to have a lot of singles. It's going to be a lot of different fulcrum pressures, and just you need to be able to play that all really low and then bring up those accents and dynamics. Anyways, let's get into the specifics. This transition, like I said, took me forever for some reason. I still played it wrong. I know I did. It's where all the flams get placed, right? So we have to make sure that we know exactly where we're going. And with flams being on drum 3 and drum 4 for these inverts, I suggest aiming for more of the top area of the zone, because if you do it in the regular zone and you have your underhand too high, you're gonna click your sticks. I had to rep this over and over from 152 all the way up to 202. I suggest you do the same thing and ingrain it in your head. We're gonna go into this quad break now. We're gonna look at these funky rhythms, right? I know I sound like a broken record when I'm saying play with a metronome, but especially with this part where it's gonna be super fast, everything's gonna sound really slurred. You need to get strict and good rhythms at a slow tempo, and then with the tempo, and then you add those diddles on top of it. Now, I would like to point out that this is one piece that I tried playing in high school before, just because, you know, it's fun to learn stuff. I remember seeing two transcriptions that were both kind of different. Mine is also in a way different than theirs, I know for sure. I'll try and find it, but this rhythm that I made a 5-lit, some people put 2/16 notes and then a 4/3. And if you want my honest opinion, and no shame to them, you know, it makes logistical sense. But when you're trying to clean this, I feel like it would be easier to have it as a 5-lit, and maybe it doesn't sound that way, but the fact that it's so fast just makes me think it would make more sense to do a 5-lit instead of 2/16 notes and then a 4/3. Play it either way you want. This is my transcription, right? You can transcribe it however you want. You can play it however you want. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying they're wrong. This is my transcription. This is how I'm going to teach it. With that out of the way, we got a 5-lit. Play the 5-lit without diddles, obviously. When we get to E, it's a lot of stuff that's up, a lot of 4/3 rhythms, and in a sense, you could modulate the metronome to fit this better. And even if you listen to like the lot videos, they do click with what the modulated rhythm is, right? So this would be your new tempo, right? Instead of you get what I'm saying? If you find something that feels really weird and you modulate it to something that is very similar, so like if you're doing this, right? Right, it's gonna be weird trying to match it with the 3 quarter notes, you know? But if you modulate it to you know that's you know, so do what you can to make it simpler on you, and then ingrain that into the piece that you're playing. We get to these floppy flams, we got 3s, we got 2s, and then we got 1s, right? Since it's fast, you're gonna have to get used to this like flick motion, but don't like throw your entire arm into it, right? My hand is really open for this, so you just need to practice that. It's not necessarily finger, it's like that rotation in your wrist that you would be using for these floppy flams, and then you would add accents to it, which would just be the little flick. Break it down too, so like right hand would just be right, just that, and then the opposite on this. But instead of doing like the opposite, you could just do the same rhythm so that, you know, you practice both of them. So and then you would interlace it by, you know, the delaying it by however much it needs. Anyways, right after you get out of that, it's going to be a very, very, very hard transition into doing paradiddle diddles. You just need to practice the entrance over and over again. I do have one more thing. Obviously, this entire piece is super hype, especially the very end where you're just doing nothing but super high diddles into some rim shots, 5-lit, you know, all this stuff. Do not over exaggerate it. If you over exaggerate it, you'll most likely come in late. You have to play with musicality still. It's a very hype part, but you just need to make sure that your ups are up and then you got that crescendo at the very end. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know, again, very short, very honestly kind of vague for this stuff. A lot of it is stuff that I've talked about in previous videos, and I hope you guys do watch those because anything that translates from that to this makes it easier on you. One more thing I also wanted to mention is you heard that I had all of snare and all of bass along with the audio recording. I've decided with these transcriptions, I'm gonna put in the extra work and just get the audio. Don't ask me for the transcription because I'm not doing the rights and lefts and everything like that. It's just strictly the audio and it looks janky. Quad parts will always be in the Google Drive in my link tree. You just need to look for the name of the group that you're looking for, the year. And now I'm gonna start putting in the full battery audio so that if you want, you can practice with it instead of my janky playing on these videos. With that being said, I have a special video that's coming up for Blue Devils 2014 where I'm gonna play everything. It's just gonna be the music with the sheets at the bottom. It'd be really cool that if you do play it, tag me. I'd love to see you guys improve and, you know, do this kind of stuff. This is what I do. I do it for you guys, along with improving myself. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya! Hey, and I better not see any comments about my hair, okay? I didn't want to take a shower yet because when I record these hard drum parts, I get sweaty, okay? Gross, look at this. Ugh, it's time for a shower. See ya.